Nicole Wolf walked into her sister's housewarming party holding a sealed manila envelope, but she hadn't come to celebrate. 7 months earlier, her husband Stephen collapsed from a heart attack at 35. At the hospital, a doctor told her there was nothing they could do. She was 6 weeks pregnant and hadn't yet told him. 2 months later, an insurance letter arrived. The $1.2 million policy had been paid out to her sister Jessica.
Jessica? Stephen would never do that.
I'll pull every document. If someone forged his signature, we'll find it.
The beneficiary change form bore his signature, but the date didn't make sense. She held Stephen's photograph and promised to uncover the betrayal. She wasn't just grieving a husband. She was protecting the child he never knew he had. Margaret pulled the beneficiary file and placed the change form in front of Nicole.
3 weeks before his death, someone signed Stephen's name on the 17th.
The 17th. He was in the hospital all day. He couldn't have signed anything.
I obtained the hospital records. Admission at 7 a.m., a minor procedure under sedation until 4 in the afternoon.
He was barely conscious. There's no way he held a pen.
The signature is forged. The notary's stamp makes this an official act of fraud.
The form that stole her future had been signed by someone else while Stephen lay in a hospital bed.
Someone arranged this carefully. Someone close enough to know the policy details and the exact date.
We need to trace the notary's logbook, but the fraud case is already airtight.
Nicole stared at the fake signature and saw her sister's shadow in every stroke. Margaret tracked down the notary, who stamped the form, a woman with a meticulous logbook.
The notary swore she visited a residential address on the 17th. One single entry that day.
A residential address? He was in a hospital bed, barely breathing.
The address was your sister Jessica's apartment. The notary swore she witnessed a man sign there.
Nicole's phone was in her hand before Margaret could argue.
Jessica, the notary came to your apartment the day Stephen was hospitalized. Tell me why.
You are unhinged. Grief is twisting your mind. I don't have to listen to this.
The line went dead. Nicole's hand shook with fury and fresh betrayal.
We have the hospital records, the notary's testimony, and the forged signature. I can file a civil suit by noon.
She'll pay for this. Every cent of the $1.2 million she stole from my daughter's future.
A week later, Nicole drove past a $700,000 home with a fresh sold sign in her sister's name.
The blood money. Every brick paid for with my husband's life insurance.
The closing date matches the payout. She didn't wait a single week to spend it.
I want to confront her publicly at the housewarming she planned with stolen money.
Margaret drafted the demand letter. Civil suit, forgery charges, full restitution. She sealed it in a manila envelope.
This envelope holds enough to destroy her, and I will not flinch. Stephen, this is for you, for the baby you never got to hold.
The evening of the housewarming, Nicole smoothed her charcoal dress and walked toward the door.
Nicole, I am so glad you made it. Come see what I've done with the place.
Breathe. Let her think she's won for a few more minutes.
Jessica led her sister through the open-concept living room, pointing out the imported tile and chef's kitchen, as if it were all a gift from the universe.
Custom cabinets, double oven. It's everything I've ever wanted. You should be happy for me, Nicole.
Happy? Every cabinet door swings on my husband's ghost.
40 guests mingled with champagne flutes, oblivious to the grenade in Nicole's clasped hands.
Oh, Nicole, meet the Davisons. They don't know about Stephen. Try to smile. Okay. You are bringing down the room.
I'll smile when I am ready. And not a second before.
She stepped into the powder room, pressed the envelope flat against her stomach, and let the rage settle into something useful.
7 months of grief. A stolen future. It ends tonight.
She returned to the main room, the manila envelope no longer hidden behind her clutch. Nicole Wolf had come to do what no one expected, and she was done waiting. Nicole raised the manila envelope above her head, silencing the room like a conductor before the downbeat.
Jessica, I brought a housewarming gift. Something I think you should share with everyone.
What is this? No one wants your drama. Put that away before you embarrass yourself.
She tore the seal without a word and pulled out the demand letter, her voice steady as stone.
Civil suit filed. Criminal forgery charges referred. Full recovery of $1.2 million sought.
The color drained from Jessica's face as if someone had opened a vein.
You are insane. Grief has twisted your mind completely. You can't prove anything.
Evidence includes hospital admission records and notary testimony placing the forgery at your apartment. Should I continue? Or do you want to explain to your guests how you forged a dead man's signature?
The party had become a courtroom, and the verdict was already forming in 40 pairs of eyes.
The notary logbook records a single residential visit on the 17th to apartment 412. Your old address, Jessica.
That's a fabrication. You doctored those records. You are trying to destroy me.
Hospital records prove Stephen was under sedation at that exact hour. He couldn't sign anything, let alone be in your living room.
A woman in the back whispered, "She's got paperwork. That sister is lying." The whisper spread like a match in dry grass. Jessica's jaw went slack. The story she'd rehearsed dissolved under the weight of the truth.
The notary described a man she witnessed sign, but Stephen was intubated. There is no other explanation. You forged it.
You don't understand. It wasn't supposed to. Mom, tell her she's wrong.
In her panic, Jessica's eyes darted toward the edge of the room, and a figure in silver gray began to stir.
Don't look away. Tell them how you stole your own niece's future while her father's body was still warm.
The room held its breath. No one spoke for Jessica, and the silence was louder than any denial she could manufacture.
Margaret had a forensic expert analyze the signature. It's not Stephen's. It doesn't match any sample from his life. This report proves beyond doubt that someone else wrote his name after he was already sedated.
You don't know what you are doing. This will destroy the family. And for what? Money you never had?
Before Nicole could respond, the crowd parted, and their mother Carol stepped into the light, lips pressed thin.
This is enough, Nicole. You are embarrassing yourself. No one wants to hear your paranoid fantasies.
Mom, you are defending her? Do you know what she did with the insurance money?
She's your sister. Family takes care of family. Whatever she did, you should forgive, not drag her through the mud.
Forgiveness. She forged a dead man's signature and stole his child's future. And you are asking me to forgive?
A mutter swept through the guests. This was no longer a sibling quarrel. It was an indictment of the entire family. Carol's mask held firm, but behind her eyes, something flickered, not guilt, but calculation. Nicole stepped closer to her mother, the letter still crinkled in her fist.
You knew about this, didn't you? You helped her.
I only wanted to protect my daughter. You don't understand what you are doing.
Then tell me how the notary knew to go to Jessica's apartment that specific afternoon. How?
Carol's mouth opened and closed. In the silence, the truth became its own confession.
We made sure the notary would come at the right time. Jessica couldn't handle it alone.
We? You said we? You were part of this forgery.
Jessica's face went white. The room buzzed like a hornet's nest, disturbed.
Then I am adding your name to the lawsuit, Mother. Civil suit, criminal referral, full recovery, from both of you.
Nicole Wolfe had just added her own mother to the indictment, and she was only getting started. Nicole walked out of the party into the cold night, her hand still trembling as she gripped the car keys.
Margaret, it's done. Add my mother to the complaint. She admitted it in front of 40 witnesses.
By 9 the next morning, Margaret had filed the amended civil complaint, naming both Jessica and Carol Wolfe as defendants.
Criminal referral is on the prosecutor's desk. Forgery, fraud, conspiracy. They'll both face charges.
My own mother. She picked Jessica over me, over Stephen's unborn child.
Process servers delivered the same thick envelope. to Jessica's front door, and to Carol's house across town.
They'll try to destroy me, but this isn't about me anymore. It's for Stephanie's future.
The first motion filed by the defense was a request to seal the case, denied. The public would know everything.
They're scared, Nicole. That's why they'll fight dirty now. But we have the truth, and truth holds up.
Nicole placed a hand on her growing belly and whispered to the daughter who would never meet her father. Jessica's lawyer told the press, "Miss Wolf is a grieving widow whose accusations are the product of trauma, not fact. We will clear our client's name."
She was always jealous of Jessica. The grief has made her vindictive and unstable.
In the prenatal clinic waiting room, Nicole overheard fragments of her own story, twisted into poison.
They've already turned people against me. But the truth is in the evidence, not their whispers. They're making me out to be a monster, Margaret. What if no one believes the truth?
The forensic report doesn't depend on gossip. The notary's confession is airtight. We will win.
That night, she opened her journal and wrote a single name across the top of the page, Stephen, beneath it. "I will fight."
She's going to know her father was worth more than the lies her aunt and grandmother told.
The smear campaign was meant to break her, but it reminded her exactly why she was fighting. She would face them in court, every last one of them, and let the evidence speak louder than any lie. 3 days later, Nicole's phone rang. The caller ID read, "Mom."
Nicole, please don't hang up. I've been crying for days. This has all gone too far.
You are right. It has gone too far. That's why I filed the complaint.
We're your family. If you just drop this, we can all move on. I'll make sure Jessica pays you back quietly.
Quietly, so no one knows. She wants to hide the crime. You want me to drop the lawsuit and accept a secret payoff? That's not justice. That's a cover-up.
Don't you realize what you are doing to us? This will destroy the family name.
The family name was destroyed. The moment you both forged a dead man's signature. Never call me again.
She ended the call and blocked the number. The line was silent, but her resolve had never been louder.
I am not backing down. Not for comfort. Not for family.
Weeks later, in a sterile delivery room, Nicole labored alone. No mother, no sister, only the nurses and the memory of Stephen. A nurse placed the newborn on her chest, a tiny, perfect weight that shattered the silence.
She has his dark hair. She has his stubborn chin. I name you Stephanie after his mother. She would have loved you.
The name filled the room like a promise. Stephanie Wolf, the daughter Stephen never got to hold. The reason Nicole could not fail.
I will get back every cent of what was stolen from you. That trust fund will have your name on it.
She looked at the sonogram picture she'd carried through every lonely month. The baby she'd promised to protect. She had kept that promise. Motherhood did not soften Nicole. It sharpened her. The legal battle was no longer about grief. It was about the future.
For you, Stephanie, I will see this through. For your father.
In the quiet of the maternity ward, a widow became a mother and a plaintiff who would never settle. The defense offered to return the full $1.2 million, but with a condition attached. The settlement letter read, "Full repayment in exchange for a sealed agreement and a permanent gag order." Nicole called Margaret, the offer letter trembling in her hand.
They're terrified of what will come out at trial. This offer proves they know they'll lose.
If I sign, they walk away clean. No accountability. No public record of what they did to Stephen. I didn't fight through grief and labor to let them buy my silence with my own money. I want them to face it publicly. Every last detail of the forgery, in open court.
She took the pen and rejected the settlement. The counteroffer was trial. No secrecy, no compromise. The trial date was set for 8 weeks later. Nicole Wolf would face her mother and sister in open court.
This is for Stephen, for Stephanie, for the truth they wanted buried forever.
The first day, she left Stephanie at daycare. Nicole stood in the parking lot for 20 minutes, unable to start the car.
She's so small. What if she needs me? But the trial won't wait, and I have to be ready.
That night, after the baby was asleep, Nicole spread every document across the living room floor and began to memorize.
Each date, each entry, I could recite it in my sleep. They will not out-prepare me.
At the park, a family friend of Carol's approached. Your mother says you are keeping that baby as a weapon.
Tell her I am using the truth as a weapon, and I'll see her in court on Monday.
Margaret arrived that evening with 2 bags of takeout and a thick binder of prep notes.
Eat something. Then we'll run through cross-examination. You are stronger than you know.
I am doing this for her. For Stephen. So Stephanie grows up, knowing the truth.
She kissed Stephanie's forehead, then returned to the table. The trial was days away, and her armor was ready. On the first day of trial, the gallery was packed. Nicole walked in wearing the same charcoal dress she'd worn to the housewarming.
The evidence will show that Jessica Wolf and Carol Wolf conspired to forge a dead man's signature and steal $1.2 million.
Nicole was sworn in. The prosecutor asked her to describe the moment she learned the insurance had been diverted.
I opened the letter and saw my sister's name. I couldn't breathe. Stephen would never have done that to our unborn child.
She spoke of the pregnancy she'd kept secret, of the future stolen before it could begin. The jury leaned forward. The defense attorney tried to paint her as a grieving widow, grasping for blame. Nicole's voice turned to steel.
I am not mistaken. I have the hospital records, the notary's logbook, and the forensic report. That signature was forged.
Margaret projected the forged signature onto the screen, side by side with Stephen's real handwriting. The differences were unmistakable. On the stand, Nicole never wavered. She pointed to the evidence and spoke for the husband who could not. The first day ended with the jury silent, the truth beginning to surface. But the hardest witness was yet to come. The next morning, Jessica Wolf took the stand in a pale blue blouse, her confidence already fraying at the edges.
I didn't know about any notary. I was at work that day, nowhere near my apartment.
But the prosecutor produced her work time card, stamped with the same address the notary had logged. The contradiction sucked the air from the room. Carol Wolf followed, her silver hair immaculate. She spoke of protecting family, but her voice trembled when asked about the notary's visit.
We just wanted to help Jessica. We never meant to hurt anyone.
A forensic handwriting expert demonstrated 12 distinct discrepancies between the forged signature and Stephen's verified samples.
You've seen the proof. A dead man's hand was mimicked, and a fortune was stolen from his widow and child. There is only one verdict.
They can't talk their way out of ink and paper. The truth is in the evidence, and the jury sees it.
The jury filed out at 4 in the afternoon. The wait began. The longest night of Nicole's life. She pressed Stephen's photograph against her chest and whispered, "Almost home." The jury filed back in less than 3 hours. The foreman held a single sheet of paper, and the courtroom held its breath. On the count of civil fraud, we find for the plaintiff, Nicole Wolf, and award the full sum of $1.2 million. Nicole's knees buckled. A sob escaped her throat, raw and unguarded, as the gallery erupted behind her. Jessica Wolf slumped forward, her lawyer gripping her arm as the weight of public judgment settled over her like a shroud. Carol Wolf sat rigid, her lip curled in silence. No tears, only the acidic burn of a reputation destroyed. The judge added punitive damages on top of full restitution and immediately referred the forgery findings to the district attorney.
You did it. The truth held, and they all saw it. Stephen would be so proud.
I told him I wouldn't stop. Not until his daughter got what was stolen from her.
Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed. The verdict was public, just as she had demanded. Nicole Wolf had won the lawsuit, but the money hadn't yet been returned, and she still had to face her mother's empty chair. A week after the verdict, The full settlement plus punitive damages landed in Nicole's account. Every cent of the stolen $1.2 million.
This check is more than money. It's Stephen's legacy for our daughter.
She took the settlement straight to Margaret's office, where they drafted the Stephanie Wolf Educational Trust.
This trust will cover college, housing, everything. Stephanie will never have to depend on anyone's lies.
She strapped Stephanie into the car seat and drove to the cemetery, the first visit since the verdict.
I did it, Stephen. I got it back. Our girl will be taken care of.
She knelt in the grass, holding Stephanie close, and introduced the two people who defined her fight.
I'll tell her everything about you, the man who loved her before she was born.
She promised to bring Stephanie back every year and never let his memory be erased by greed. She walked back to the car with her head high, the weight of justice finally lifted. A month later, Jessica's luxury home had a foreclosure notice bolted to the door. The stolen money was gone. Carol Wolf stood before a judge on separate conspiracy charges, her proud reputation reduced to a case number.
There's no pleasure in watching them fall, just the quiet certainty that the truth finally won.
She closed the laptop and turned to Stephanie, who was stacking blocks on the carpet, oblivious to the weight her mother had carried.
We're free now, baby girl. No more fights, no more lies, just us.
Stephanie looked up with a gap-toothed smile, unaware that her future had been secured by a mother's relentless love.
This is what Stephen would have wanted. Not revenge, but safety, and a home filled with laughter.
She put Stephen's wedding photo back on the mantel, not as a shrine, but as a promise that love outlasts betrayal.
Your daddy was a good man, and I kept my promise to him.
Nicole Wolf walked through the park that afternoon, her daughter's hand in hers, and smiled, a real smile, unburdened. 5 years later, the living room was filled with toys and the sound of a little girl's laughter.
She has his smile, his kindness, the best parts of him.
Stephanie looked up from her coloring book, dark curls falling across her serious expression.
Mommy, tell me about Daddy.
He was the best man I ever knew, and he loved you before you were born, more than anything.
She pulled the wedding photo from the mantel and sat beside her daughter, the frame warm under her fingers.
The pain has softened. Now, there's only the story. His story, our story. Your dad's laugh could fill a room, and he'd have built you the best treehouse in the neighborhood.
Stephanie traced Stephen's face with her finger, her mother's story weaving him into the light. Nicole Wolf had walked through fire and emerged with the only thing that mattered, a daughter who knew her father. The afternoon sun filled the living room, catching the crayons scattered on the coffee table. Nicole sat on the couch, Stephanie curled against her, sleep finally winning. She glanced at the mantel, where Stephen's photograph gleamed in the golden light. It had been 5 years, but sometimes the gratitude still caught in her throat. She didn't whisper anything, just pressed a kiss to her daughter's hair and held on. Outside, the world didn't know about the battle that had been fought inside these walls. Nicole Wolf walked into that housewarming party, a grieving widow, holding an envelope. She walked out a person who had faced the worst and refused to break. She made them pay, not just with money, but with the truth. And she gave her daughter the one thing that couldn't be stolen, a love that remained.